Our Changemaker guest today, right now, is Kate Casa, an editor of the Sacramento Bee webpage. And there may be a couple of other people from the media here in a few minutes, too. I've invited these energized members of the press to talk to us about how you can get the media to write about you and your project, your dream for our society, and the commitment you have for bringing it forth. For those of you who already had an organization formed and are already taking action but need more community involvement, our guests will have inside knowledge on how to get their attention and the attention of other reporters and editors. I will first introduce Kate Casa, an editor for Sacramento Bee webpage. Kate, will you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you've learned about how one person or an organization can get their projects known and supported by your community?
Hi, Reva. I'm glad to be here. I've been in the media. I've been in this business for approximately 20 years now. I've started in print. I was in radio, and I recently moved to internet, to electronic publishing. So I've dealt in the different mediums and have enjoyed all of them. So I've
just had a lot of experience, and you got a lot of things that you know.
Hopefully I'll have something to offer in that regard.
Yeah, when we get up in front of this microphone, sometimes our mind just goes blank.
It does.
I know mine does. So
it's been a while since I've been in radio.
If you, the listeners, hear a spot where there's no voices, just know we'll be right back. Okay, I do want to let you know that you can reach Kate and me right now by telephone by calling us at 916-456-5199. We do look forward to hearing your questions live. So tell me, Kate, what gets your attention when somebody wants to have a project put into the newspaper or on the web page or on radio? You know, what captures you?
It depends a lot on what kind of issue it is, but a lot of times it's important, if it's at all possible, it's important to tie your information, the point that you want to get across, to something that's happening in the news now. If there's an incident that's occurred, or locally, nationally, internationally, that has something to do with the message that you want to get across, it's important to strike while the iron is hot. You're going to get the attention of a reporter because those are the things that are in the news right now. If it's something that's on the back burner in terms of news, oftentimes it will take more effort to get the attention of a reporter or an editor. It's easier to put that off. But if they see something that can be tied, especially something like a local angle, to a national or international story.
Yeah, like what kind of thing are you thinking of right now?
Well, I've been a reporter all my life, but I've also done some community organizing with regard to Middle East peace. And I've been an activist in that regard. And I know that in the peace activist community, we try to tie things to what's happening on the international scene. If Arafat and Barak are in talks and we have a speaker coming to town, we try to pull that to the attention of the editors and reporters who might be interested in covering it, and giving them a comprehensive, a summarized but comprehensive overview of the situation. Don't assume that they understand everything that's going on. Give them a summary of what's going on, and then concrete ideas about how they can link your event to the local coverage that you're seeking.
Yeah, I guess reporters have their special interests, and then they're kind of a jack of all trades. How does that work? How do reporters get their beat, so to speak?
Well, that's true. There are general assignment reporters, and I'm talking now about the print atmosphere. There are general assignment reporters, but there are also special reporters that cover the city and the police and the fire and various beats. So it is really important to get to know the reporting that's done in your community and who's doing what, and keep track of that. If there are specific reporters that you know that are interested in your issue in particular, don't hesitate to call them. And even if they don't cover that issue, they can direct you to the appropriate person who might.
Yeah, I was listening to a tape that I'll have on my interaction show next week, which he said, it was this Peter Worth, was saying that don't think you're asking for a favor when you go to a reporter to tell them about your event. You're not doing them, you're doing them a favor because you help them know what's going on in town and getting stuff that's really fresh. So it's very good to contact them, and then sometimes they know you're a good contact for certain kinds of things, and you will be called, I think. Is that true?
That's true, and it's just important. I can't emphasize how important it is to tie. If you're sending a press release, make sure you've got a name attached to that release. So many times it's easy for things to get shuffled to the bottom of the pile. If you know the appropriate editor or reporter, it's not going to be shuffled that easily. And the thing that's so important too to remember is that reporters need to generate story ideas. They need to come to their editors, and editors need to go to their editors with story ideas. They have to hear from the community. One thing that we offer at sacb.com are links to the Sacramento Bee virtually in any medium that you choose. You can fax, you can telephone, you can email. It's very easy to get in touch with the appropriate person now. A little exploration on the website, and television stations and some radio stations too have a lot of their personnel listed on the site. A lot of them have profiles of the people. You can find out who they are and what they're interested in and what they've been doing.
That's a new piece of information that I didn't have.
And so it's important to check those profiles and see who you're dealing with. Mm-hmm. I know NPR has an extensive list of their people and their correspondents and who they are and what they do, and it's good to know those people and to stay current on who you're dealing with.
So you could even send things to NPR.
Absolutely.
Have one of those funny little stories or something like that.
That's right.
Or if you have a project that you're into that has a good homey feeling kind of thing, I think they like that, personality to it. I was just thinking about, yes. Oh, they need me to get closer to the mic. Oh, okay. If you haven't been hearing me, I'm a little sorry about that. You have to almost eat this mic where I am right now. You have to have it right in your mouth. Pretty soon I'm going to have my tongue on. Wanted to see as though my mind got a little off right there. I was thinking of some kind of a project that I had. Oh, I know. One of my interests is attention deficit disorder, and you can see maybe I have a little attention deficit disorder, because I lose track of things occasionally. And I let the editor of one of the magazines, Sacramento Magazine, know that I thought that it would be real useful for the magazine to have an article on ADD, especially because a lot of executives and a lot of people in high positions have ADD. It's not just people who have troubled lives, but some people with ADD in high positions have it too, and their magazine reaches a lot of people that way. Well, she didn't put it. It was about 2 years later, and I got a call from somebody that they hired to do a story on adult ADD, and she called me to interview me for that article. So some of things take a longer time than others. We don't get things right away.
It's amazing how long a story can stay alive on a story list on someone's desk or clipboard or notepad. It's stories get shuffled to the bottom of the list. But if they're a viable story idea, very often they'll stay there. They have a table life, and the reporter or the editor may get around to assigning them, but they know that it's, for instance, the issue that you just talked about, attention deficit disorder, is not something that's going to go away, so they know that they can always get back to it. That's where it's really important to make a follow-up call or 2 or 3. I can't stress...
Or even just say hello, or to give them some information that they might be interested on another whole subject.
Exactly. And then, by the way, recall we talked about something else. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Reporters, editors are all, assignment editors are people, and they like to hear from people. Obviously not every day, not every hour, and I've been on the end of overkill in that regard too. You can really put off your contact by contacting them too many times.
Kind of pressuring them.
Exactly. So if they're not picking up on it, there should be a reason, and you should be able to find out what that is. and to ask them for a reference to someone who might be interested within their organization or elsewhere who might be interested in the story idea that you've got.
Yeah, speaking of letting people know, I'm here and you can call me at 456-599, what is it? 5199. You can call right now and you can get some support and get on the air and let your project be known right now. We'd love to hear from you, and and you can also call us after hours and leave a message for me, for Reva Camiel. Let me know that you'd like to be on the show, that you want to come into the studio and talk about some kind of project that you have going and that you've been successful with. And or if you know somebody who's been successful with a project that can be helpful to other people, that's what I'm looking for on this show, are people who have done something, who can share and be a coach to somebody else who's just getting started. So if you have any of those kind of people around, do that. And if you have a project or a complaint, this is a good time to call us right now at 456-5199. So let's see what's coming up for you right now, Kate.
I wanted to play reporter for just a minute and ask you, Reva, what sense you get from the community as to do you get a sense that there is increased inclination toward activism now in this new millennium, or are people becoming more apathetic? Are people wanting to be involved, or are they just sitting at their computers? There was a story in the Bee today about people are becoming more solitary with their computers. Are they just in chat rooms going round and round with their computers and not really getting out and doing something? What's your sense of that?
Well, I have two senses. One is that there's groups of people that are out there and who are activists and who are, trying to make a change and making a difference in their community. So there are those people that I call and that I know who are out there doing things. I mean, the Community Services Planning Council has, 800 pages of different kinds of groups where they have volunteers and people are helping. I think possibly there are more people who are willing to join a project and help if they're asked, rather than those who initiate projects. And I think any one of us, could be initiators if the problem was big enough for us and we thought this has to be taken care of. Like I think there have been mothers who have had sick kids and then saw the need for help in the hospitals and have brought together people to volunteer and do that kind of thing. So those are special skills that people can learn, and you can start on small projects. I do think and one of the reasons for this show originally was to get people to feel empowered, to get the skills, know what it takes to put on a project and to do it, even if it's a one-day project. I know somebody who did a one-day Jewish film festival. She thought that San Francisco had a whole week film festival and thought, gee, Sacramento should at least have a one-day one. And she got together with the Jewish community and put one on. And it may be growing to a two-day one. I don't know. But there's... So we can all do it, but I think we can all do it in different kinds of ways. There's no one way.
And I think having moved into the internet medium, I see that as an incredibly empowering tool for people. The networking and the information gathering that's available now in an unprecedented way, obviously, it enables us to get connected if we feel like we want to. I know on sacb.com, you have the ability to actually, any community group can go in and create a homepage. The tools are there, absolutely. The tools are there, and your homepage can be posted, and it's linked to the community side of the website. And it's a great way to get your message and your information out there.
Well, that's a whole new thing. Thanks for bringing that to my attention and to everybody else's attention.
Sure, and anyone who is interested in doing that and needs a contact is welcome to email me it's kcasa@sacb.com, and I'd be glad to forward that to the appropriate place.
Great. So you mentioned something about something written that you should send to the reporter what was that called again?
The press release?
Yeah, press release. I think there's some kind of way that you're supposed to do it.
Yeah.
What are the basic things that need to go into a press release? That sounds kind of overwhelming, but things are overwhelming just when we don't know.
Actually, and it's the simpler the better. Journalism 101, who, what, when, where, why, and how are crucial. And that information at the very top of the press release, along with the contact information. What
do you mean by contact information?
Who the reporter can call, the phone number, and one or two key contacts for the reporter to call if they if they need more information or if they want to cover a specific event. To be able to succinctly summarize what it is that you want them to know is very important. It doesn't matter if it's print or broadcast or internet. There's a basic formula for press releases. Don't get it past a page or maybe 2 pages. If you're going to provide backup information, do that on a separate sheet, some background information, maybe some talking points or key facts that you feel they need to know, or other professional contacts that may be helpful for them, or sources. But you can pretty much guarantee if you're going to fax over 5 pages, those back pages are not going to get read, and it's not.
And maybe not the first one either.
But if you do it right, it should. It should get read. I can't stress contact, phone number, and basic information at the top.
And by when that story needs to go out, like if you're planning something for a holiday coming up that has a theme to it, that you need to get that into them how much earlier?
It depends on who you're targeting, but if you want your information listed in various calendars, it's almost never too early. I can't say that. A month ahead of time is not too early to get your information.
For a date, for an event.
For an event, exactly.
You need to tell them where it should go in the newspaper, or under what heading.
That's helpful because, as in the case of the Bee, there are a number of different calendars in the paper: business, metro, arts calendars, neighbors calendars, exactly. And so, it's very helpful to target it to the appropriate calendar page or calendar editor.
Can you be in a neighbor paper as well as the metro?
Generally, they like to avoid duplication, but there are ways to approach that too. It looks like we're coming up on a break, but maybe we can get to that.
Yeah, so we're going to take a break in just a few seconds, and we'll be back in a few minutes, and we'll be back with Kate Casa and talking about how to get media working for you. I guess we're still not off on the break. I don't hear the music. Oh, I hear the music, and now we're going.
This is The Voice.
Listen to America Today on The Voice every Wednesday evenings from 8 to 10. Is the UN good for Americans? What's behind free trade? Where is our culture going? And are we a free people? And what is freedom? Where is America headed? We'll answer these questions from a different perspective. So open your mind and listen to America Today, Wednesday evenings 8 to 10 on The Voice.
This is a story about American heroes. They changed quite a few lives last year. Jorge Vasquez put out fires, but no, he's not a firefighter. Philip Dale discovered several new stars. Oh, he's not an astronomer. And Elaine Capobianco, she saved a child from drowning, but she's not a lifeguard. They're teachers, but to the kids they've reached, they're heroes.
I'm a teacher. The children are the heroes.
We're not just teaching subject matter, we're teaching human beings.
I am tough as nails, but they know that I love them.
I mean, we've got a legacy that follows behind us forever.
Teachers have the power to make an impact on our future. California will need about 250,000 more of them in the next 10 years. Reach for that power. Teach. Call 1-888-CAL-TEACH now. A public service message brought to you by CalTeach, the Ad Council, and this station.
The Voice and Access Sacramento are helping to make a difference. Just ask Charmy Silva of Weave.
Weave is an agency in Sacramento. It stands for Women Escaping a Violent Environment. Our agency's been around about 20 years. Mainly, we're an agency that offers counseling for victims of domestic violence or dating violence. We offer counseling for male perpetrators of domestic violence, and we also offer counseling for victims of sexual assault. I am creating a video for sexual assault awareness that I will be using in the classroom. I go out into many high schools throughout Sacramento, and I've been able to create the project by taking classes at Access to learn how to use the camera and do the editing, so I'm able to do everything myself.
Charmy Silva is one of many Access members who've learned to help make a difference in our community. Get involved by becoming a member of Access Sacramento. Call us at 456-8600. Access Sacramento, making a difference, one voice at a time.
This is the voice.
Welcome back to Action Callers. We have with me today, I'm Reva Camiel, and with me is Kate Casa, who is the editor for the webpage for the Sacramento Bee, and we're talking about how you and your friends who have projects and things going on in the community, if you want to get it known and get it out into the community so that more people participate with you and more people learn from you, this is a way to do that. So we'll move on with some more hints on what to do for getting your stuff on the air, in the newspaper, and maybe flying out of the sky. Who knows?
Protocol would dictate that I clarify my position. Actually, I'm called a content developer now. That's a new word. Yeah. There's a whole new parlance with online journalism, and that's part of it. And so, content developer is who I am.
Oh boy, if I can remember that, I get a big
basically
a big raise.
It's an editor. You were right the first time.
Yeah.
I think we were talking about whether someone could get their information into the community news section as well as the metro section of the paper. Mm-hmm. I did work at the Neighbors sections for a number of years, and Neighbors is oftentimes interested in maybe what's perceived as smaller, more localized stories. So often you'll have a better chance of getting a story into Neighbors before it gets in the Bee. And Bee editors watch Neighbors to see what's coming up. And what Neighbors is kind of the farm team for the big leagues.
Okay, so they kind of look for the talent out there.
They look for the interesting stories, and oftentimes they'll swoop in and grab something that they see of more regional interest and pick it up and do a different story on it. So it's entirely possible to get your story or your issue covered in Neighbors and then have it again covered in Metro from a different angle.
Yeah, I was mentioning there, I listened to the tape from the Live Media Group who teach people from nonprofit organizations who are going on trips to different countries, and a way to use their trip to let people know what's going on in some of these foreign countries, third world countries, and that you can use your trip in some kind of way, and it could make a very interesting story. And next week you'll be able to hear that tape on our internet program that goes on at 4 p.m. on Wednesday, and then again on Thursday morning at 4 a.m. So, our volunteers are in the other room looking at us and letting us know that they're open for the phone lines. Diane Batar, who will greet you, will answer your call and put you on to me. The number here is 916-456. Is it 91591? What is the number? 5199 456-5199. So give us a call and let us know you're out there, because again, that's a way for you to let people know what you're thinking. That's, and what you're worried about and what some of your concerns are about,
so that maybe if you're not the one that's going to carry out the big program, maybe there'll be somebody else out there who'll want to take on the program, and you can help them. And so it's all different kinds of ways things can get done in this community. So do call, again, 916-456-5199. So,
Reva, I would stress, too, that activism doesn't have to come when you have something that you necessarily want to say or get out. You may have an issue that you want to talk about or publicize, but you also may want to know more information. And I think it's very, very important that you let the major news media organizations know that you want information about,
that's very good.
For instance, if someone in Sacramento, if a delegation in Sacramento travels to Cuba, you want to know what they found and you want to hear about it. Let them know that there's an interest there. There's a market for that kind of news, because I think a lot of times there's a presumption that, for instance, international stories with an international angle don't have much of a following here, when in fact we have a huge immigrant community and population, and there are those of us who really want to know what's going on in the world, and we don't want to have to turn to the New York Times or CNN or
I don't like the New York Times. The lettering is so small. I can hardly read it without my glasses.
You have to go to the website.
Is that better?
Yeah. You can make it bigger on your computer.
Oh, very good. I'm learning a lot of things here from you today, Kate.
But I think that is important. I think people really need to know that you're out there, and maybe you don't have a message, but you want to hear what other people have to say.
Yeah, what's going on in some of the countries. I know I never got real clear on Salvador and El Salvador and all those countries. I don't know if there's a way they could educate us a little bit about the countries and things like that, give us some geography lessons or something like that. Just throwing that one out as something that I could use some help on. Do you have a lot of time as a reporter to listen, to take phone calls from people who would call you?
Well, in my days as a reporter, oftentimes reporters are very, very busy. They're expected to produce one or more stories per day for a newspaper or for broadcast. And so that again, you need to understand that reporter's deadline cycle. If you're calling television and they're going to be on the air in about half an hour, they're getting ready to be on the air in half an hour, and they can't really listen to your news tip.
So if they sound rushed, let them rush and tell them you'll call them back.
Exactly, get back to them.
Yeah, and right now my engineer is Mr. Steve Baylog is letting me know it's time for a break. We'll be back with you in a few seconds.
FM Sacramento.
And now we're back from the break. That was one of our nice little short ones. Okay. What, you were going to say something? Looks like you got your mouth open for some reason here.
Just that we were talking about deadlines. Be aware of who you're calling when they're on deadline and respect that. They're going to have less time to listen to you. A newspaper reporter probably will have more time in the morning. If it's a morning paper, their afternoon deadlines are going to be right there. If you're calling at 4 o'clock, they're going to need to get off the phone.
So what does Sacramento Bee have? What kind of deadline?
The Bee has to close in the evening. The Bee goes to press at night. So reporters are on deadline by early to mid-afternoon. A lot of reporters are on deadline. Mm-hmm. So if you give them a call in the morning when they're still kind of fishing around for stories, that's a good time to be able to talk to them.
How about News and Review? Do you know anything about their deadlines?
They go to press, I believe. I'm sorry they're not here today, but I believe
we'll get them another day.
They, I think they put the paper to bed on Tuesday nights. So Wednesday, I believe, and
they're looking for new stuff.
I may stand corrected, but I believe Wednesday is when their new news cycle starts again. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And obviously, those deadlines are different in terms of calendar items. The calendars have a whole world of their own. Mm-hmm. So you really need to contact the calendar editor and find out when they need that information. And oftentimes, calendar editors can use a canned photo too. So that's good to have.
Yeah, I was thinking right now we've just been talking about two of the bigger newspapers here in town, but there's a lot of little papers and a lot of small radio stations and small, I think maybe some small TV stations, as we have 73 and 74 here at Access Sacramento, where people can come and learn how to use the cameras and make their shows themselves and get out on the air. What are some of the kinds of things people could think of in terms of the small media? What are some of the things to think about?
Well, again, a lot of times small media, especially print media, don't have the benefit of wire services. They don't have filler material. They have to generate it themselves. So they're going to need copy and information, perhaps even more crucially, than the large media outlets. So definitely don't discount the smaller publications.
Yeah, so I'm thinking some of the smaller publications that I get are sometimes my professional journals. Sometimes the churches. I get newsletters from churches. So your church, and maybe another church would be interested in what your church activities are doing, finding ways to networking with the other churches.
Neighborhood organizations put out their own newsletters too for the different neighborhood groups.
Yeah, so real important. I know over at Java City and Tower Books and Barnes & Nobles and Borders, they always have all the different newspapers out, like Mom Guess What, the gay newspaper in town, and the Outward one, and all kinds of news and entertainment and things like that. So there are many places where you could get articles that will reach quite a few people. Although, the big newspapers, the daily newspapers probably reach the most, but there are a lot of people who don't read the newspaper.
And if it's a community event that you're targeting, a community issue that you're organizing around, perhaps you don't necessarily want that broad audience. You want a more localized audience that's going to get involved, get behind you. If there's an issue in your neighborhood, I know the Neighborhood Services Department of the City of Sacramento is helpful in terms of giving people references and sources and materials to organize, and if they have a neighborhood issue. So you want to get local if that's the issue if that's what the issue is about.
Mm-hmm. I was thinking about internet. My mind ran over to internet for a moment. What you mentioned about people not being close and not having relationships. Well, I've had some wonderful experiences of using the internet with some professional organizations that I belong to, and where we had list servers where we talk to each other. People in the counseling field like myself all over the world get together and talk on internet. And when I wanted to go to Australia, I noticed somebody on our list who was from Australia and said I needed a place to stay, and I'd like to do a workshop there and all those kinds of things. And he said, and wrote back, and I said, do you know anybody who would be willing to do that? And this guy wrote back, he says, I'd be happy to have you stay at my place, and I'll set up the workshop for you, and yeah, just come on down.
It's amazing how you're able to make those kind of person-to-person contacts now, and it really is a fantastic tool.
It's become such a small world.
It makes the world our community. It really does.
It really
and that's
does.
What's exciting about it. Conversely, one of the negative things, I don't know if it's negative or not. I think that the jury may be still out, and certainly this is a rapidly changing field. But I think one thing that's happening with the advent of online news and online news services and city services that come in and build websites that are all about specific cities, one thing that we're seeing is, unfortunately, the news cycle is getting smaller and smaller, tighter and tighter.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, time is becoming more and more important. The immediacy of getting a story on the web, and the web obviously provides 24-hour publishing. You can get the news up almost immediately as it happens. Television websites have video and audio and text available as the fire is happening, as the event is taking place.
Whoa, I didn't know that either.
It's very, very fast. And so consequently, what's happening is a lot of news organizations are basically chasing each other's tails. Everyone is going after a story and going after it faster and faster. And the circle's getting smaller. And I think what can tend to happen is that community groups who have events or issues that they want to get out there oftentimes can be marginated.
Marginalized?
Marginalized. There we go. Thank you.
I think I just made that up.
I need an editor here. And their issues can get sidelined. I've talked to groups in Sacramento who say that they have a harder and harder time getting the attention of the media now because the television stations are chasing what the radio is chasing, what the newspaper is doing, or vice versa, and people are tending to be too myopic in terms of their view of the news. And I had one group tell me that even 3 or 2 years ago, when they had a protest in front of the federal building, they could usually at least get a television camera out there if no breaking news story was happening at the same time. And now it's very difficult to get that to happen.
Yeah, you have breaking news from all over the world coming in all at once, don't you?
And people are very consumed with the quickness of getting that information posted. And so I think we as journalists, the members of the media, have to make sure that we stay vigilant to what really is happening. And we live in a town where there is no major competition for the major daily, too. So that comes into play when.
But how about your job over there with the web pages for the Bee? What is that job like, or what kind of news do you have on? How is that different than the newspaper?
Well, it's different. In the morning, what happens is that all the news that's in the Bee gets posted on the website. But then throughout the course of the day, as news changes and information comes in, we update stories or we post new stories. So we actually have Bee reporters who are filing stories that are, or at least part of their stories that are getting onto the web early, and in some cases the full stories that are getting onto sacbee.com the day before they're getting into the paper.
Wow.
It may be a story that doesn't even get into the paper or gets in as a digest item or a brief, but we'll have, for instance, traffic accidents or fires or flooding. We have the ability to get that news up there very quickly.
So are there a couple of yous there at the Bee who are, what is that title you got now?
Content developers. Actually, there's quite a growing staff up there.
So that's a whole new a new way of doing business. Huh?
Exactly. New media.
Oh my goodness, we're getting so close to our break, and gee, I don't know how we managed to do this all.
We amaze ourselves, don't we?
We do. We hardly know what we're up to. Again, you can call us at 456-5199, and we're just going to be taking another little break right now. So we have about a few more seconds, and we'll be back in a few moments with Kate Casa and me, Reva Camiel. And I also want to use this time to thank my volunteers who are working so hard with me. We have Diane Matar at the phones, and Michael Geller as one of our engineers, and Steve Bailog as one of our engineers. And I also want to mention Esther Mix, who on my other program, Interaction, also does a lot of the work for timing those tapes, and I want to thank her very much too. So this can't be done by one person, and we'll be back.
Sacramento's community radio, The Voice.
Would you like to hear some nice music? Music that's positive, uplifting, and unique? Well, then tune in to The Haven, where you'll hear the best of inspirational music. The Haven, where the message is the music, and the music is the message.
That's The Haven with Kevin Matlock, Thursday evenings and Friday mornings from 6 until 8 on Sacramento's Voice.
Don't forget to check out The Streets of Aztlán with your host, Chebi. The Streets of Aztlán brings you the best in old school jams. Right here on the People Station, 88.7 FM.
Catch the Streets of Aslan every Friday from 2 to 4 p.m. and again Saturday morning from 2 to 4 a.m. on Sacramento's Voice.
"10,000 eyes are on me, shouting, 'Casey, go all the way.' First base, second base, third base. Make your move today. Do it, Casey, do it. Score mighty, Casey, score." I just don't get it. Is that what girls are for?
If you don't talk with your kids about sex, who will? For a free booklet that can help you discuss all kinds of tough issues, call 1-800-CHILD-44, sponsored by Children Now.
And now, Vince and Larry, the crash test dummies with a lullaby.
Crumple, crumple, little car. When you crash, it's au revoir.
If on dumb luck you rely, through the windshield they will fly.
Keep your children off the streets. Put your kids in safety seats.
Crumple, crumple, little car. Don't be dummies like we are. Gee, Vince, I'm kind of sleepy now.
Okay, Larry, just crash anywhere.
You could learn a lot from a dummy. Buckle your kids' safety belts. A message from the Department of Transportation and the Ad Council.
Hello, I'm Shane Carpenter, Program Manager of Sacramento's Voice. We at Access Sacramento are embarking on a grand adventure to bring local community radio back home. We've created a radio station that reflects the cultural enrichment of Greater Sacramento, and you can help. Call 456-5199 anytime and tell us what your community is doing and how we can help. Sacramento's Voice is your voice. Together, creating community radio. It began in 1986. In 1988, Access Sacramento brought you round-the-clock community radio. In 1997, Sacramento's Voice is heard worldwide on the Internet. In May of 1998, Access Sacramento expands the community voice again. Stay tuned as we usher in a new era in Sacramento radio. Access Sacramento and The Voice, Sacramento's community cable radio, Internet, and something more. Sacramento's community radio station, The Voice.
And we're back on Action Callers, and this is Reva Camiel, your host, and with me today is Kate Casa, who is a content developer for the Sacramento Bee's webpage, where you can even set up on the Sacramento Bee. I just learned you can set up your own webpage for your own organization, for your own community activity. What a great thing that is for all of us. So, and then you can look up other people's web pages and see what else is going on in town.
And there are hundreds, from what I understand, online now.
How do you find it? How do you find, let's say you want to find the Mideast Peace Project on there?
If you go into the homepage, and then on the left side, you'll see links to neighborhood and community, and if you go through there, it'll walk you through the steps that you need to find the
like international groups or this kind of.
I'm not sure they're broken down. I think they're broken down alphabetically. Exactly, but there may be a function so that you can. That's not one of the areas that I deal with directly. But as I said before, I can certainly, if there are groups out there that are interested in establishing a homepage, I can certainly refer them to the right people or people who want to access it.
That might be something really good for Access Sacramento.
Also, yes.
To have a web page there and have all the programs down there. We can have action callers and
that's right,
interaction both on.
That's right. Yeah, there's all kinds of potential.
Yeah, and if you've just had all day and all night to work on these things, it'd be great.
Mm-hmm.
So, what kind of hours do you have, Kate?
Actually, I'm pretty standard Monday through Friday. The news is around the clock, but I've got a pretty good schedule set up. I start around 7 in the morning and finish up around 4:30.
That's great.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
So your daughter gets to see you?
Yes, they get to have a mom.
Oh, that's great. So tell me a little bit about how TV, we don't have a TV person here, but if you know anything about it, how would getting on TV differ from print media?
Well, obviously, and I haven't worked in TV. I've only worked in radio and broadcast and print, excuse me. But I would I would venture to say that visuals are going to be a very important aspect of it. I mean,
So have like a video or pictures, snapshots.
right, and if you've got an event in which you're having a demonstration, very interesting signs, things that will capture the attention of viewers, obviously, I think are very, very important things to have. So.
Okay, good. Okay, I'm kind of like out of questions, but we still have some more time, so maybe between the two of us we can figure something out. Let's see, I do want to mention that there are two upcoming events that you might enjoy learning from. There's Marcia Freedmans, who's going to speak at this Friday night at B'nai Israel Synagogue over on Freeport Boulevard. And she's going to speak about Israel's new battlefronts, culture, class, and gender. And you can call the synagogue at 916-446-4861 and find out about it.
Am I correct in that she's a former member of Knesset?
Yes, I think she was on the Knesset. I think David Mendel mentioned that on our show a few weeks ago, that she was a member of the Knesset, and she spends half her time, he said, in Israel and in her home in Berkeley. So she should be probably and I think she had a woman's, maybe it was a woman's party or something like that. And I think she served at least one session. So you can call the synagogue at 916-446-4861, and I believe it's 8 o'clock. And also, for those of you who heard the people from PFLAG, Parents and Friends of Gay meeting last week on this show, on December 21st, put it on your calendar, December 21st, they're going to have a rap session facilitated by Dr. Will Green, who is a psychiatrist here in town. And so that would be a good place to find out and meet some people who maybe you've been curious about and want to know more about. Looks like we have our first caller, and that is Catherine. And I'm wondering, I guess I better put my earphones on and see about talking to Catherine.
Hi.
Yeah, hi, Catherine.
Hi. Well, thank you. I have a question for Kate from the Bee.
Yeah. Hi.
Bee. And that is if I want to put together a workshop, a personal development workshop and or a spirituality day, that kind of a workshop. What part of the Bee would I want to, what calendar in the Bee would I want to get in touch with?
That would fit somewhere into the scene section, or if it is an event that's coming over a certain weekend, a good shot would be the ticket section. There's an editor in the scene section who deals with all those listings. Ticket has a lot of entertainment things, but it also has community events or events like that. So you would go through the scene section at the Bee to do that. And all the contacts are listed in the Bee on the inside pages. I believe it's on A2, if I'm not mistaken. And they're also listed on the website.
Yeah, I thought of, I think I've seen some, Catherine, I think I've seen some ads or, articles on spirituality things in the religious page, too. So you might, one of the spiritual editors or religious editors might be interested in the workshop. Since I don't know the content, do you want to, when are you having it? And would you like to let people know right now, or is it something in the future?
Well, there is one this Saturday, so I was thinking about the ticket, which of course it's too late for now. It's a spirituality day.
Well, you can tell us now, and it can go on the air.
Okay. Well, it's a spirituality day, and one can call the Learning Exchange at 929-9200.
Okay, so it's
here in town, and it's all day, and there's like 9 or 10 different workshops, 3 of which you'd have time to participate in.
Okay. Are you going to be giving one of the talks, or is there somebody special that you think people would love to hear?
Well, there's a great particular workshop on Light of the Masters, given by Val-John Ferris.
Okay, so, all right.
One more question for Kate in regards to this clarification on the inside part of the paid newspaper. The section A, you said, would list the scene.
Right, the box inside should have a list. I'm sorry, I don't have this in front of me.
Fine.
I should know it, But there is a list in the paper. It's either in the A section or the B section that lists the phone numbers for the different departments. And again, the website, when you click on the staff portion of the B, you can find the phone numbers, fax numbers, and email numbers, email addresses for all the different editors, the appropriate editors.
Oh, that is great. So it's a combination of using the paper and the website.
Right. I'm sorry I can't be more specific.
No, that's perfect, just to be able to know where to begin.
Well, thanks for calling, Catherine. Was there anything else?
That's all for now. Thanks.
Okay,
Thank
bye-bye.
you. Good luck.
All right, so we've had our first caller, and let's see, we're getting close to the end. If anybody else wants to call, this is a good time to call at 456-5199. Call Access Sacramento. This is your community station, and everybody here is a volunteer, and you can learn how to be a volunteer here. You can learn how to have your own radio show, and you can learn how to have your own TV show. And you take the classes, and you start working real hard. But if you have a passion for it, it really is great. It's a fantastic opportunity. It's been a wonderful opportunity for me to be able to bring together the kinds of people that I think our community needs to hear about. And so this has been one way, one access to getting people together who have something to say about how to take action in our community in a way that fits your personality. Everybody doesn't have to do it the same way. And I'm looking forward to hearing from each of you. And you can write to me on the email at www.sacramento.org. And you can give me your name. You don't have to give me your address, or you don't have to give me a name. Give me a pseudonym. But tell me a little bit about yourself and the kinds of things that you would like to hear more about on this program. Because this is your station and your show. And I look forward